Hi, everyone, and welcome to the special simulcast, the Neil Haley Show, and Talk Nutrition to Me with our host, Kelly Springer. Kelly, how are you? And we have another amazing guest. I'm really excited to hear from her because she's going to provide so much information for our listening audience, viewing audience, online audience, everybody.
Everyone needs to know this person, especially if you're a female at the age of 40, or me is 45. So we're so excited to have Loretta Dignam as part of our founder and CEO of Menopause Hub Academy, pioneering the voice in menopause education and advocacy. I know Loretta has gotten tons of different awards, but she shares her experience and expertise and insights on how nutrition plays a vital role in managing menopause symptoms and optimizing hormonal health. So I welcome you, Loretta. It is such an honor to have you on this podcast.
Thank you so much. I'm absolutely thrilled to be here this afternoon. And you've raised expectations high, so I better deliver.
All right, Kelly, I'm going to let you go with this. Go ahead.
Yes. Okay. You've got to tell us what the Academy is, what it does. How did this get started? I mean, I want to know all the things.
Right. So I was your typical woman. I was 49. I had my last period. And very soon after that, I got hot flushes. And at that stage, I was working in the corporate sector, working in marketing, communications, and branding, and a single mom of two, and absolutely clueless about menopause is what I can say. And so when my period stopped and I got hot flushes, they were the only two things I knew. So I knew, oh, I must be menopausal. But to be honest, my perception of a menopausal woman was somebody much, much older. And therefore, I thought I was way too young. This couldn't possibly be happening. Nobody in my friend group were talking about it. My mother didn't speak about it. Nobody spoke about it. And as a result, I went on a bit of a journey for a few years trying to get on top of symptoms that I was aware of. I'd never heard the word perimenopause. And so all the symptoms that happened to me in my 40s, I was going from one specialist and doctor to another in tests. I had brain scans for my headaches, I had pains in my ankles, going to a physiotherapist. I had dry eye, ended up in the accident and emergency department of our local eye hospital 3 times, and nobody mentioned menopause. So I was going through all of this. So eventually I started on hormone replacement therapy in addition to diet and lifestyle and other things. And I got my old self back. And I decided I would now speak to other women about their journey because actually I was a little bit outraged, to be honest, that here I was, a woman in my late 40s, early 50s, knew nothing about this, felt blindsided, and couldn't understand why it was so secret and taboo. Why was nobody talking about this? I just couldn't understand it. So I decided I would start a revolution in Ireland around menopause, and I set up Ireland's first dedicated menopause clinic. So it's a multidisciplinary clinic, it's evidence-based, and we offer services to women going through menopause that encompass everything from diet and lifestyle, pelvic physiotherapy, diet and nutrition, and psychology, medical, and we offer it all to women. And basically is to help them. And we have 3 values of our clinic. We have education, and that's the number one thing we focus on, is educating women about what's happening to them. Empathy, it's understanding and empathizing that this is something real. It's not imaginary, it's not in their head. And the third thing is that we empower them to make the choice around how they want to manage their menopause. And so I set up the first clinic in 2018, in December 2018. Nobody was talking about menopause. I campaigned with our government in Ireland to improve services for women. We got free hormone replacement therapy introduced this year as part of our budget for 2025. And then I started talking to corporates and educating and training corporates about menopause and menopause in the workplace, because 10% of women leave work because of their menopause and perimenopause symptoms. 4 in 10 consider leaving work. 4 in 10 take time off work, and 20% take 3 or more days. And I feel really passionate that this is a time when women are coming into their own and they're reaching that point in their career. It's an inflection point for them. And then they can experience a tsunami of symptoms that they may know nothing about, but that can impact them in the workplace. And so really, I set about trying to improve women's lives in this phase of life so that they can continue to live the life they love. So that's what I do.
I love it. And I'm passionate about this. I started perimenopause at around 38 years old, very young. And so I had doctors tell me that there's no way I was experiencing this, told I was crazy. Also had an OBGYN tell me that this is your new normal. And believe me, it was not. So as a woman that went through pretty young, I can tell you of all the symptoms and things that I have endured, leading to a hysterectomy, which I'm glad and I wish I had had 4 years prior. So I think that this conversation of having two teenage daughters myself, I'm very proud. I wrote my daughter yesterday. She got herself to the doctor. She was having a couple things going on. And I said, I'm so proud of you for taking your health into your own hands, for understanding how important women's health is, and also that we're now having more conversation about this. And I think it's because of people like you that we are. So thank you.
And I can't believe this is missing, Kelly, with our doctors.
It's Loretta, there is a statistic, and I know you're in Ireland, but in America, I believe it's less than 20% of OBGYNs are trained in menopause or perimenopause. Is that correct statistic?
Yeah, that's correct. And I think it's reflected internationally, it's reflected globally. And by 2030, there'll be 1.1 billion menopausal women on the planet, 12.5% of the global population. And every year, 47 million newly menopausal women will come into this cohort. So we're talking half the population. And yet, we all know about erectile dysfunction. We all know about a male heart attack. You can get Viagra over the counter. We all know that when, a man clutches his chest and has a pain in his arm, that he's more than likely having a heart attack. A female heart attack presents differently. And it wasn't until 1993 that women were included in medical clinical trials, because they were seen as too complex because of their hormones. And even when they did work and included rats and mice, they didn't do them on female rats and mice because they were too complex. So women getting attention, getting anything from the medical community is a recent phenomenon. And so we have to become advocates for ourselves. I'm speaking at an event the week after next, which is with the Endometriosis Society here. And it's the very same thing. That's been so taboo and secret. And women who had very painful periods thought that this was their normal. And
Normal.
this is the kind of pain that everybody was going through. And they were told to put up. And it takes somewhere around 7 or 8 years for women to be diagnosed with endometriosis. This is shocking. This is
Mhm.
shocking as a woman. And I have a daughter, when I was going through menopause symptoms, she was going through puberty. And I looked at her and I said, you've just started these periods and menstruating and everything. You've got to go through your whole life now and you have to decide, can you have children? Will you have children? You have to put up with periods every month. What's the impact on your career? Do you want to be a stay-at-home mom? Do you want to be a working mom? Do you want to be part-time? Do you want to be full-time? This, that, and the other. Then you get to menopause and you think, oh, well, thank goodness I can leave all that behind. The children are more or less grown up and so on. And then another tsunami of stuff that's been kept secret hits you. And so I decided for my mother and her generation, I wanted to, fix things so that my generation didn't go through
Yes.
that. But for my daughter's generation, I want her to have a vastly different experience of menopause. And she will.
And she will. And she will. And that's where I feel the same with my daughters. I remember my mother showing me like, Kelly, look, you can, my face. And I'm like, Mama, I don't have to touch it. Like I can see sweat is dripping. And she was a mental health therapist and she'd have to sit and work and counsel people while her face is dripping. And to be in the moment and to feel like you're being your best self. And again, just the awareness and talking about what this is and how she could have gotten a lot of help, I think, from hormone replacement therapy, but that was never an option. So we're learning so much every day. The research is coming. It is coming. I'm hoping and praying that we just have a solution for our own daughters. And so I'm grateful for you.
Absolutely. And I think that you are transforming society through your mission. that the more you can get out there and tell the public of your success in your country, the more you can help the world with women with menopause.
100%. Ireland and the UK, and although we're a little small country, we do punch above our weight globally. And we've just had St. Patrick's Day. Remember, that's our national day. But yeah, so Ireland and the UK are leading out, and Australia is doing really well in this space at the moment. But, sitting here in Ireland, we can't believe that countries in Europe, like, Germany, France, Scandinavian countries, aren't more progressed on this topic. And then when we look to the States, we can't believe that you're further behind where we are.
Yeah.
And yeah, so like I'm on a mission that this is not just for Ireland, this is global. And that we need, as individuals in this space, to work together, to collaborate, to actually build out the information and so on for women. And to information is power. And women need to know what's happening. And then what will happen is they will demand more from their OB/GYNs. They'll demand more from their physicians and so on. And the other big thing is that there was a study done in 2002, which was the Women's Health Initiative, which did an awful thing for women in the sense that overnight, so the headlines came out saying that hormone replacement therapy caused increases in breast cancer, stroke, and heart disease and clots. And overnight, women stopped going to their doctors about menopause, and overnight, they stopped prescribing. And as a result, a whole generation of doctors, I'm not saying hormone replacement therapy is the only solution, but what I am saying is that a whole generation of doctors stopped learning about menopause in any sort of in-depth way. And that has done women across the globe a disservice.
Yeah. Okay.
And there is now new research that hormone replacement therapy doesn't do those things. It actually can prevent osteoporosis and prevent heart disease if taken early enough, correct?
That's absolutely correct. And, I don't advocate for any woman that she does what I do, which is diet and lifestyle, which is some supplements, which is some, Pilates, strength training exercise, and some mindfulness and my hormone replacement therapy. So I have a toolbox that I call my menopause toolbox, and it contains very multiple things in it. It's not just one thing. But a big disservice was done to women. And, if a man had his testicles removed tomorrow, he would be more than likely offered testosterone replacement therapy.
Mm.
And so why is there this big,
Mhm.
scaremongering? And it has made an indelible mark on women and on the medical profession. And it's taking years to actually get back to where we were before 2002.
What is your take between HRT and BHRT?
Oh, that's interesting because so HRT, hormone replacement therapy, and in Europe we call that regulated hormone replacement therapy. BHRT is sort of bioidentical hormone replacement therapy. And the origins of HRT, primarily estrogen, were based on horses' urine, so equine sources. And pregnant mare's urine was one of the big sources of estrogen. And that was made into a form that was a woman could take in her body. But lots of things had to be added in because horse's urine is not really natural for us to be taking. And one of the lead brands in that, which was a tablet, was called Premarin, pregnant mare's urine Premarin. So that was all over the world. In Europe, they moved ahead in terms of development of hormones, and we have had synthetic hormones developed since then. And the most modern form of hormone replacement therapy is actually called bioidentical, body identical, nature identical. But it's made by pharmacists, by pharmaceutical companies, and it is equivalent to BHRT. However, one is regulated and one is not. And the reason that the BHRT has grown up so much in the States is because you didn't have the pharmaceutical versions that we have in Europe. And so the markets are very different. And we've had what we call this one that's transdermal, so delivered through the skin, through gels, patches, and creams that you go to your pharmacist to get. It's made by big pharmaceutical companies, and we've had that for years. But in the US, your regulation has been much tougher around this, and therefore a lot of bioidentical, compounding pharmacies have built up around this.
Interesting.
I started my journey on BHRT, and then I went on a course on a clinical program in the UK in London with one of the top BHRT companies, and I learned about this pharmaceutical based version. And I switched from one to the other because I knew I couldn't have a clinic whereby I was on one type of hormone replacement therapy and our doctors were prescribing something else. And I switched. And to
Mhm.
be honest, there was no difference.
Oh, good.
There
That's good
was
to
no
know.
difference. Yeah.
I,
And so
I
I'm
hope
on.
I hope we can have part two, Kelly, of this, because this is so
Yes,
intriguing. We need to.
we're gonna have a part two. This is incredible information, and we're really hoping Loretta and I are going to start speaking together. Um, I really do have a story to tell, and because I am only 45 years old and I've already experienced so much, and and I still have more to go. And so I am very passionate about this topic, as you can tell. And I think we can all learn from you and all learn from what your clinic is providing. So let's see what we can do in America and get this.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Let's do it.
Yes. Yes.
All right.
So, where can people find you?
So they can go to our website, which is themenopausehub.ie, or they can go to our workplace training. And we're very interested in providing training to workplaces, and we'd love to work with you around that. We offer, policy development, we offer accreditation, we offer training. So you can find that on menopausehubacademy.com. And or look me up on LinkedIn, or you can get us on Instagram or Facebook or wherever TikTok, you name it, we're there. We would love to hear from you.
All
Well,
right.
I appreciate you, and I hope that you have a wonderful day. We will do a part two of this. So, all the listeners, there is more to come because I have a lot to learn myself. So,
All right.
thank you so much, Loretta.
Fabulous.
Thank
That was
you.
the special simulcast of the Neil Haley Show and Talk Nutrition to Me with Kelly Springer. Take care, guys.